today's session I am super excited about. This is one that you all have been asking for, which is creating and managing courses. So today I am going to walk you through how to create a course, a brand new course from scratch. I'm also going to discuss how to copy existing courses, which includes copying course materials as well as methods to copy a course. When we're creating a new course, we're also going to go over selecting course structure. And this is a great way for you, especially if you're new and you're not sure how to structure your menu, it'll build it for you. So we'll go over the different ones that are available. As well as finally, we're going to go over managing your course content, which really I'm focusing on archiving your courses and then restoring them if you want to bring them back into the system. So lots of good stuff today. And if you didn't hear me before, we're going to do things a little different. So before I was doing slides and then doing a demo. Well, I saw your feedback and I saw that you wanted more demo and less slides, so that's what you're getting. So today, we are going to do a few slides. I'll do my introduction, go over our quick topics, and then we're going to dive right into the demonstration and screen sharing. So let's keep moving forward. If you don't know me, some of you, you're probably like, oh, I know who she is already. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Monica Garcia. I am the Online Learning Course Director here at Keesler Faculty Development. And my focus is really on helping everyone with online learning as it becomes pretty much a standard across the Air Force in our training environment. I won't just say technical training because some of you are from outside of technical training. So training environment as a whole, we are utilizing Blackboard and online learning to facilitate a lot of our courses. Oh, and we have Navy too. So I can't forget you guys. We do have some Navy folks with us as well. So we're going DoD wide now. So I have a lot of experience in Blackboard. I've been working in it back since 2015. And that was back when the pilot program was closing up and got it. Okay, if you can't hear me, I recommend clicking out and logging back in. I'm not saying anything important just yet, so you're good if you have to log out and come back in. You're still at the beginning. Awesome. Lots of thumbs up. Yay. My regulars know the drill. Awesome. I've got you all trained well. Okay, so someone said calling in works better, so that's good to know. So if you're having sound issues, try calling in. The number, if you scroll all the way to the top, the number is at the top that you can use to call in. So awesome, thank you. All right, so as I was saying, I do have quite a bit of experience using Blackboard and more importantly using the AETC Blackboard system, since some of the things that we find in the help section, we don't actually have access to. So I'm going to go over what works for us in our AETC Blackboard license. That's me. So, are you all ready to get started? Let's go ahead and type in. Are you guys ready to learn? Yes. I don't know about you, but I get excited about creating courses. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Someone's all excited about it. Heck yeah. So we are going to go and move forward rolling. So quick check-in. What is your experience with creating courses? I know we have a lot of new people. I just kind of get like to gauge on what our experience level is in here. As any of you who are experienced instructors or have taught or developed courses, you know, we like to kind of get a baseline of what everyone's experience is. So I want to know if you're familiar with what I'm teaching, if I need to go step by step, or if I have a good mix. And I think we have a good mix in here. We have some who are brand new, some who've never even touched Blackboard. and some who've created courses. So, okay. Hey, Kristen. Yes, I know you are one of my experienced Blackboard users. Okay. So we have a very, very good mix of Blackboard experience in here, which I love seeing. And as you all know, even my experienced users, sometimes we find new things that we're like, whoa, I didn't even know it did that. So hopefully I can share some cool new tips for you that you guys can use as you're moving forward. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to go over creating a new course, and we're talking creating from scratch, also copying existing courses. So if you have something that you've already got created, but you want to use it again for other courses, we're going to talk about your different options for that, and then finally managing courses. So with that, make sure you get out your webinar guide. And we are going to get into Blackboard. So give me just a second while I get my screen set up. Oh, I'm so glad you love the webinar guides. I had someone tell me that they wish that they had these a year ago, which it does my heart good to know that you love them so much. I put my heart and soul in them. So I want to make sure that you guys have all of the information that you possibly need. All right, can you all see that screen? Okay, so for those of you who are new to creating courses, this is the system admin panel. When you have admin rights, and I think I was emailing with someone who may not have them yet, you are going to need your system administrator rights in order to get to this and create courses, especially from scratch. So if you do not have those, make sure you get with whoever your Blackboard administrator is for your base or your location so that they can give you those rights. Generally, those rights will need to be added through the institutional hierarchy for whatever node you are assigned to. So I did the webinar on the understanding roles back a couple months ago where we talked about the institutional hierarchy. And it looks like Mr. Natty is an admin for the 81st training group. So if you are here at Keesler and you need system admin rights, talk to Mr. Natty. He can help you out. I can also help you out as well. I'm not an actual administrator, but I can assist you if need be. If you are outside of Keesler, make sure you go and find out who your person is. Sometimes they are based in the squadron that you are assigned to, and they may be able to help you out. If you are not sure, still contact me. I have contact with several other administrators, and Mr. Natty, you probably have contact with several other administrators as well around, and I hope I'm not like calling you out and you don't. All right, there you go. So Dr. Lewis and Ms. Pam Hicks can help with Vandenberg. And Mr. Natty says there's one other at Keesler. Okay, Mr. Natty, I'm going to have to get with you offline when we're done, just so I can discuss and so I can get that name and we can, oh, Ray Linebaugh is the other one at Keesler who can also assist. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. So if you have your webinar guide out, we are first going to creating a new course. So when you go to create a new course, the first thing you're going to need to locate is the little box that says courses. And from there, you're simply going to click on the hyperlink courses. If you see on your guide, I have the little picture, and this is what you see when you click on Create Course. So you're going to want to navigate to the Create Course button and go down to New. Now, I'm not going to talk about merging enrollments. I did, however, put a link on how to merge and separate child courses. So if you want more information on that, there is a link in your webinar guide that will link you to that page if that is something that you need. Because don't have a whole lot of time for within this hour, I really wanted to focus on the foundational needs to just create a course. So we are going to go until you hover over New, and you're going to click New. So once you click New, you are going to see this blank page. If you turn to page 2 of your webinar guide, you are going to see there is a table here that has aligns with each of these spaces. So I'm going to walk through and I'm going to show you, we're actually going to create a course while we're sitting here. So you want to put in your course name. Now it can be any name. The course name you can actually change after the course is created. So we type in the course name. The course ID, however, is something that you want to make sure that you are for sure about what it is. So also, if you notice in your guide, it is something that you do not want to have a duplicate of. So if you have other courses that are similar, your course ID should change for each course. So here, if you look in there, it has like Comp 01, Comp 02, Comp 03, etc. It can be whatever you want. However, you cannot change your course ID once it is created. So again, you can change your course name, but you cannot change your course ID. So make sure that you name it something that you are for sure about. So we're going to name this Demo 01. If you look in the guide next to course ID, it'll tell you what characters you can include and those that you cannot. So go ahead and be mindful of that. That way you're not getting frustrated when you're trying to create your course ID. Your description, you can put your course description here. This is anything that it'll put out keywords. So if someone is searching for something, if you have certain keywords in there, they should be able to search your course if it is within a node that they have access to. For subject area, so we have a question that says course ID could be the number assigned by the training manager. Yes, so it could be the course number. So the course number that you utilize to identify your course, absolutely. I've seen that that's what people use for their course ID. Yes, exactly. So it can be that your long course number, absolutely. Now, let me just backtrack a little bit. If you were in my webinar last month where we talked about setting up courses, one thing I did give is in the course name, you want to try and vary your course name a little bit, whether it's by number, whether it's by date. And you want to, because if you're going to do a search for that course in some of the shortcuts, it will only bring up the course name. So I recommend I've seen where a lot of people have the title of the course as their course name, which is fine. But just know if you do a search or use a shortcut like I was showing in the webinar last month, it's only going to bring up that course name and it will be difficult to differentiate between each course. So you want to make sure that you either add a number or a letter or something to differentiate that course name from other courses you might have going on at the time. And no worries about being late. I was having trouble connecting myself. You can do a keyword search. Yes, the course, so I have another question. They're creating a course or an orientation course. The course can be deleted as long as it is assigned to your node. So make sure that it is assigned to your node and then it can be deleted. If you can't see it in your admin panel when you do your course list, then you will have difficulty. You will not be able to delete it, and you have to actually contact AETC to have them delete it for you. All right, so the next step we go to is subject area. To be honest, this does not really matter for our purposes. It's not going to affect your course either way, so you could really leave it at the default. I mean, technically it is education, so whether you leave it at education and leave it at higher education, it's not really going to matter. I generally leave these as defaults anyway. So our next section is availability. Here's what I recommend. So you can make it available, and when I say available, this means that if you have students in there, they can see it or other people can see it. I recommend making it not available except to yourself. And the duration is really also dependent on what you want it to be. For the most part, I just keep mine continuous. That way, if we do have students enrolled, we can kind of control how long we make it available. If you have it for select dates, that's fine. It's just going to make it so that after a certain number, after the date that you select, the students won't be able to see it. And then also days from date of enrollment. It's this will limit the specific number of days that students will have the availability to the course. Again, continuous merely allows you to keep the course constantly available and make it unavailable whenever you deem necessary. Guest access means that if you enroll someone in a guest role, then they can see the content. If you do not want guests to have access, then you simply select no. All right, categories. How many of you have seen when you log in on your initial panel, you see the course catalog on the right-hand side, and you see various squadrons and sections? You guys seen that? Anybody? Okay. So that is what your categories are. So if you want to put your course in there, you can do that if you want to categorize it. However, anyone that goes in there will be able to see your course. Now, they won't necessarily be able to access it, but they will be able to see it. So whether you want to have people be able to see your course is up to you, and that will determine whether you want to add a category or not. You do not need to add a category to be able to see your course, so just know that. It is purely whether you want to or not. But if you want to add a category, all you have to do is scroll down to the category that you want, click on it, select the little right arrow to add it to the right-hand box, and then it will move it over. And once we create the course, and it's completed, it'll show up in the course catalog. Find node. This is super, super, super important. If you came to the Understanding Roles webinar, remember we talked about nodes, and if you do not assign a node to the course, even after you create it, even if you are the one that created it and you don't assign a node, it is going to go off into Blackboard space, and you will not be able to see it in your course in your admin panel. So make sure that you assign a node to your course. I'm going to go ahead and assign our flight node. Now your banner banner, you can add the banner here, or you can add the banner after you've already created the course. It's not necessary. However, keep in mind that the banner size should be approximately 480 by 80 pixels. If you go into, you can actually, so there's a couple of ways that you can create a banner that will fit. So one way is to use a program like Canva. It's not Canvas, it's Canva with no S, or PowerPoint. So if you go into PowerPoint, there's an option where you can create a frame and size it so it is a perfect size for a banner in Blackboard. And what I can do is, after this, I will send out some information on how to create that. But if you don't want to create a banner while you're creating the course, you don't have to. Course cartridge instructor download key. This is really more for packaged courses. So if you purchased a course that was already created, they're going to give you a catalog number, and that's where you would enter it here. It's kind of like uploading a pre-made course into your course. But if you don't use it, you would just leave it blank. Your enrollment options, this is where you determine whether you want your course to be self-enrollment or whether you want it instructor enrollment. If you wanted instructor, which is the generally how everyone does it, then you're going to just leave it as the default. If you want to allow students to email enrollment requests to instructor, then you would check that box. If you want self-enrollment, you can click that, and if you only want it available for a certain number of days, you can put the dates in there. You can also have make it so they have to have a specific code to self-enroll. So if you want to do a self-paced course, this would be a good option for you to use, is to create an access code, and for those students that you want to enroll, they can enter the code when you go through that self-enrollment process. So that's a great option for you as well. All right, your language pack. This allows you to select a language pack from the list, and it also defines the text that appears on your buttons and tiles. So if for some reason you need to create a course in another language, if maybe you have international students or people where they need, like, English is their second language and you want to maybe create another option, you can select from the language pack and have a different language for your course. All right, and then our next item is your menu style. So we did go over menu style a little bit on the last webinar. So you can also select it when you are creating the course itself. If you want to wait and then play with the styling of your course after you've created it, you can do that too. But in here, you have the option to select both text and buttons. I personally like text simply because if you select a button and your title for that button is longer than the button, it does not text wrap. So you want to, if you have a longer title for your content area or your menu item, you're going to want to just use the text because those will text wrap. It's weird. It's one of the Blackboard quirks. You can also select the background color and the text color here. There's also different themes that have certain colors that you can select from. Then finally, your default content view. So if you want the cute little icons that indicate what type of container you're using or what type of item it is, then you can go ahead and select icon and text. I personally, this is just personal preference, I just like the text, but that's just me. But if you want the icon and text, you can select that. We'll keep that. And then once you have that all selected, you just click submit. So now our course is running. And if we do a search for it, So we'll go by course name. It should pop up. And there it is. Now, if you were, in order to actually see what is going on in your course, you would need to enroll yourself. So when you create a course, it does not create with any users enrolled. So you said when you try to change the text color, it won't let you change it. Here's what I recommend. I recommend trying to change the text color after you create the course. That's usually when I do it because it's easier to mess around with the styling and everything else once the course is created. So I would leave it in the default colors and then try and change it once the course is created. And then if it still doesn't let you, then we can work on that and see about what it could be your permissions too. All right, so I'm going to add myself to this course so I can show you what it looks like right after you've created it. Self as an instructor. Okay, so I am enrolled. I'm the only user enrolled in there. And we'll open it up. And there you go. That's what your course is going to look like as soon as it's created. It's very simple, very bare bones. So if you want to make it pretty, you know, this is basically the foundation of your house. If now you want to put some paint on the walls and add some window dressing, then, you know, decorate it, add your furniture, which are your menu items. That's when you get into your course structure. In order to go to your course, to create your course structure, you are going to go to your customization and you're going to go to teaching style. We discussed this a little bit when we looked at teaching style last month when we were looking at setting up courses. And I was going to talk about course structure, but I wanted to wait and save it for this month because I feel that this is the best time to really add that course structure and understand how to develop your menu items when you are first creating a course from scratch. Because generally, if you are creating the course, you are going to be the one also adding the course structure. If you look in your webinar guide, I have this wonderful chart that I got from the help site. I wish I could take credit for this, but I cannot because this is directly from the Blackboard help site if you're looking up course structures. These are each hyperlinked and they are each PDFs that have a description of what is included for each of these type of structures. So if you were to click on these, if you're going in the Word document, you're going to have to press Control and then click on it, and it may ask you for your user password, and just enter that, and it should bring up that PDF into your browser. But these are amazing PDFs. I love them all. I wish I could download them all, but they are so detailed that Blackboard put them together that will explain what each of these are. So when you go into teaching style, you're going to click on teaching style. And if you see here, these are all your different course structures that you can select from. So say if you want to do an activity-based structure, it will bring up what your menu items are. It's hard to see. I'm going to have to change the text. It looks, because I left the buttons and the text dark, it's hard to see. So we'll change that here in a minute. Now, generally, I know at least here we like to do it by units, so you can do that too. If you click on the existing menu and it'll start it out for you. So if you click use this structure, and If you look in your guide, it talks a little bit more about the examples. I'm not going to go too far into that because we're already pretty far into this and I still want to get into course copies. So click on unit, go down, your entry points. We talked about that last month, but what I'm going to do is change the text color to white. Submit. Applying changes. Oh, my buttons are white, that's why. But if you see, the menu is set up for you right there. So you can choose your options. And the nice thing is if you set your menu up like this, it already creates the content areas for you. So if you want to do Unit A, Unit B, Unit C, Unit D, it'll already be in your menu. So let's move on. So what happens if you have this awesome course, which I actually recommend. If you have a course, you're going to want a master. So the way that we work it here in Keesler Faculty Development is we have what we call our master copy. So we have our course, and when it's like a master or a master lesson plan, basically. So any changes that you make to that course, you make them in the master. And then you just copy that over, and that is where you enroll your students in the copy. Because then it allows you to update anything that you see in your copies into the master, and then you are not having to reinvent the wheel for each class. You just basically make a clone of your master. So if you see my course list, we have EIDL master here, we have the AOL master. And so what I do is if I have any changes, I make them in the master. And then when I'm ready to enroll students, I'll make a copy of those and enroll my students against the course copy. So I have a course that I created just for these demonstrations. And you have different options that you can do. So you can either copy a course from inside the course, or you can do it from the system admin panel. I prefer to do it from the system admin panel, and actually we found that there's kind of a quirk with copying it from inside a course. So if you have seen it in the past where you've copied a course from inside the course, because you do have that option, for some reason in our license, it is not copying the node. And as we've discussed, if you do not have the node attached to your course, you will not be able to pull it up in your system admin course list. You'll be able to see it on your main course list, but then you won't be able to pull it up to delete it or anything like that in your admin panel. So I do not recommend making a copy from inside the course shell. I recommend doing so from your system admin panel. So to copy a course, you're going to click on System Admin, go to Courses. I'm going to pull up my test course. As you can see, there's lots of sandboxes that people have created. So we are going to go to our demo. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, this is where I want to be. You are going to click on the course. You're going to go to the little down arrow, click on that, and scroll down to copy. Now you're going to notice you have several different options. So if you want to make an exact copy, so when you make an exact copy, and exact copy instructions are on page 19 of your webinar guide. You go to page 19, these are instructions for copying and making an exact copy. This is what we do for all of our courses. We do exact copies. It will copy over all of your enrollments. It will copy all of your links. It will, everything in your course, it creates an exact clone of that course. So everything that is in your master, if you do exact copy, it will copy over everything for you. To me, this is the easiest option because then you're not having to try and figure out whether you want to include the discussions, if you want to add the blogs, and you will see what I mean here in a minute. So later, it already has your source ID here. You're going to create another destination course ID. So when it says destination course ID, you're going to have to create a new course ID for your copy. So that's why it's good to differentiate your course IDs. You also will need to add your node again. So it will not copy the node. You need to add the node or you will not be able to find your course. So again, if you haven't noticed, we've had a lot of issues with nodes because I keep foot stomping nodes. Now, you're copying course materials into a new course. And I kind of jumped ahead with the exact copy, but that's just because it is probably your easiest option and you really don't have to think about what you want to include because it is going to copy everything for you. If you want to add course materials into a new course, go to page 13 of your webinar guide. This has a table of everything that you will include. For some reason it's not giving out the options. See if it lets us do this. Copying your course materials into a new course, it should give you options. That's how Blackboard works sometimes. Being a little bit slow. So while we are waiting on Blackboard to do what it needs to do, I will turn your attention here we go. Okay. So when you're copying into a new course, you'll see it asks you for all of these different options, asking you what you want to copy. So if you want to copy everything into a brand new course, you can select all, and it will literally copy everything that you have available in that course. So if you look starting on page 13, I have a table here that corresponds to all of the options, and it will tell you exactly what it will include. Okay, I'm back. So if you look on that table and you're kind of wondering, okay, what will it include? What will it not? Is it best for me not to copy this over? I say when in doubt, copy. because I've done it before where I was like, I don't think I'll need it. And then I ended up needing it and I had to manually copy it over. So it's always a good idea, if you're not sure, you can always delete it later from the course if it's something that you don't need. So that's the main difference between doing an exact copy and copying materials into a new course, in that it requires you to select options of what you actually want to copy, whereas in an exact copy, it just makes the decision for you and it'll copy everything in the course. Now, for copying materials, this is a good method if for some reason you just want to copy, maybe select materials from one course into another. So you'll notice it asks you for a destination course ID. So if you have a course that is existing and you want to copy maybe a block, or you want to copy a whole unit and you don't want to reinvent the wheel, we're going to copy our test site and say we want to copy existing materials from the existing course into our demo course. Maybe you like your orientation in one course and you want to utilize that. You don't want to have to keep recreating it. So you can select the course here. So you can see these are the areas. If you want to just select your welcome, you can do that. Copy the links. You want to include enrollments in your copy, but if you just are copying over your welcome, you can do that. And it'll copy it right into an existing course, so you're not having to reinvent the wheel. Same goes with rubrics. Same goes with content areas. You can select one to just copy it over. And that way it saves you a lot of work with not having to rewrite everything for every course that you're doing. All right, so that is course copying. And I have approximately 7 minutes. So we are going to get into archiving courses. Are there any questions on copying courses? I know I had to go a little fast, and I'm running out of time, and I don't want to go too far over because I know you all are busy. We had a couple of great questions. So if there's any other questions, make sure you type them in the box, and I'll try and answer anything that you need. But make sure you have your webinar guides. I've made them very detailed and they have step-by-step instructions, and the charts correspond to the areas. And actually, some of the charts that are on the help site, I've actually removed areas because we don't actually have those areas that they show. So everything should be aligned exactly as what you see when you look to create a course. So let's go to archiving. To archive a course, you're going to start on the same system admin page. You're going to go to courses. And I am going to show you, I'm going to go ahead and archive. I'm going to actively archive one of my own courses. So you can see I have quite the list right now. Now, it may seem like we have endless amount of space in the cloud, but from what I understand, we are losing, we have started creating so many courses on the AETC platform that we are filling up fast. So when you have a course that ends, I highly recommend that you start archiving it. Now, archiving it in and of itself will not delete it, so it's going to be a couple of step process. So if we go to, so I'm going to go ahead and archive this AOL shared development shell. To archive your course, you are going to click that little gray down arrow. You're going to select Export or Archive. Oh, it looks like I already archived it. Back. Trying to archive one that has not been archived. And if you're looking for instructions on archiving, they are on page 21 of your webinar guide. There we go. This one has not been archived yet. So you are going to select Archive Course. You want to include your Grade Center history. So say if for some reason you archive your course and later on you have something where a student or a supervisor is inquiring as to their performance in that course, you can include the Grade Center for later use. It really depends on whether you think you will need it or not, because it also will increase the file size if you include the Grade Center. I am, however, going to include the Grade Center because for me, I want to make sure I have that information to say, oh no, this student didn't do that assignment. That's why they didn't pass the course. Or, oh yeah, they did it. You know, I wonder why they didn't receive a certificate. So it will give you that historical data that you can utilize if situations arise with a student, even if it's several months down the road. Because as you see in the guide, you have the capability to restore courses even after you have archived them. I like to copy links and include copies of the files in the course directory, and I also copy the links and include copies of the files outside of the course default directory, simply because we do have links to external content in our courses. So I want to make sure that those URLs are intact if I do go back and restore the course. If you do not have any links to external content, then you can just click the first two. But if you're unsure, let's go to the old Air Force adage, too long to be wrong. So you can pick the long one and you won't be wrong. So from there, you're going to click Submit. And if you notice, there is a message at the top. It says Success. So this will let you know that the action has been taken and it is processing. So it's not going to show up until it is done in this list. So if you are wondering if your course has been, if the process is done and it's been archived, you can go back and check, and I'll show you what an archived course looks like once it's been done. You don't want to click on the course because it'll take you back into the course. But if you click on Export Archive again, you will see a zip file in that list. And all you need to do is if you click Open, it will save it to wherever you want to save it, or it also depends on your browser. In Chrome, it automatically goes to save the file on whatever folder on your computer you want it to, whereas I believe Internet Explorer or Edge, it asks you where you want to save it. So I am saving on Enter. I'm just going to go ahead and save in my documents. Save. It has saved, it's processing. And then once that is done, you can go ahead and can delete it. So once you have downloaded that zip file, you can delete that file. Now, if you want to restore a course, say you've got a course that you have already archived and you've already deleted it, and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to restore that course. You can go into your courses. And if you go to create course, you're going to see a tab that says restore. Now, when you restore a new course, it has to be restored into a new shell, which means you're going to have to create a new destination course ID, and then you're going to have to select the package that you want to restore into that course shell. And also make sure you add your node. So I'm not going to go through and restore this. I don't want to upload any of our old packages, but this is the process. And I have the instructions here in the webinar guide for you that will walk you through the process. So we are at 2 o'clock, and I believe that's it. If you guys have any questions about creating courses, creating course shells, if you need to go in more into detail about what you need to do for merging courses, creating child courses, I can walk you through the process. If you have the link, I have actually done a one-on-one where you share your screen. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being patient with the AFNet. I look forward to seeing you all next month, and don't forget to sign up. I'll send you all the recording when we're done. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.